We're taking a different approach today from the typical videos that I tend to do here on this channel. We're looking at a specific darknet market. Why? Well, I think that every market should have some type of analysis of it, if for no other reason than a historical one. One thing is sure, no darknet market stays around forever. I decided that having a historical record of all the ones that actually matter would be a good start in us taking in all of the darknet subculture that we possibly can. Most of the time, the work and effort that many do out there goes unknown by the vast majority of the mainstream and the ClearNet people. Doing a market analysis like this will highlight some cool specific things that one of the top darknet markets that is around right now actually does, and it'll show some of the work that goes into creating a trailblazing market. Remember, we're just scratching the surface here, like looking at what's visible to all of us. This is about sharing knowledge, not promoting use. You should never use the darknet markets to buy or sell drugs or fraud stuff or anything else for that matter. Archetype is the market that we're talking about today. It's a unique spot in the dark web market space. Launched in May of 2020, this market space has made its mark by dealing exclusively in drugs using Monero as its currency. This is mainly because it has some distinct advantages vis-a-vis privacy and anonymity over Bitcoin, and in a realm where one screw-up can cause the Department of Homeland Security or the FBI or the DEA to raid you and potentially send you to federal prison for decades, taking advantage of any option that gives you additional privacy or, better yet, additional anonymity is mandatory in the eyes of someone who is OPSEC alert. Bitcoin, while famous and renowned, has its transactional records on a public ledger. With enough digging, someone could trace a transaction back to you. Some companies nowadays even use AI to do this as a service, some working almost exclusively for law enforcement. This means that someone using Bitcoin for illegal purposes or illicit purposes has a constant adversary going through the ledgers trying to make connections. Monero, on the other hand, steps in and kind of changes the game. It uses stealth addresses to hide the receiver's identity, ring signatures to obscure the sender's details, and ring CT to keep the transactional amount confidential. This trio makes transactions on Monero virtually untraceable. Anyone can check these factors out for themselves. They're well documented, and a key reason why Monero is favored for prioritizing privacy and or anonymity, as they are two different things. Now, Archetype and its ethos. The name itself tells you that they're not here to play follow the leader. By the definition of the word, they're setting the pace and aiming to be a model or archetype of what darknet markets should be. From what I've seen, they're doing a pretty excellent job. They've seen the issues that are plaguing other markets, like slow loading times, the navigational nightmares that exist, the less than helpful support teams, and the ever-looming threat of exit scams that seems to always exist on markets. The admins of Archetype have tackled these issues head-on, improving on every front where others have failed. This isn't just about being better, but redefining the standards. Throughout this, I will focus on its approach to anonymity, its user interface, and how it stands out in a crowded field of very crowded contenders. I like facts. My personality type is called the logician. So where do we begin? I would have to say in an impartial place, and that would be numbers. Typically, numbers aren't biased. So let's start there with statistics. At the bottom right of the site, when you log in, you'll see statistics for the site. You have a user base on Archetype that's a little bit more than a small city, 343,287 users to be exact. I live in Vermont. And no, this isn't like some random tidbit about me I thought you would find interesting. It's a metric. And in the 2020 United States Census, the population of Vermont was 643,000. So the user base is about a little bit more than half the population of the state that I live in. Within this virtual city, there's 197 vendors, each a digital storefront peddling goods in the shady corners. Some sell kilos of heroin, others cocaine, while others are more petite, we'll say, mom and pop stores. All are ranked in one way or another and have detailed information about them posted, but we'll get to that later. It's called vendor shops. The market has over 11,000 listings from what I saw, specifically 11,118 transactional opportunities shrouded in anonymity that only the darknet can provide. But it's not a free-for-all. There's an order to the chaos. The admins have cracked down on about 4,000 rule-breaking violations or scamming to the tune of 3,947 users. Exactly. These individuals have found themselves on the wrong side of the darknet market's law, and as a result, lost their accounts. Anti-phishing jail is a thing here, but hold up, let's talk about digitally walking into Archetype without getting your digital pockets picked. Phishing is the oldest trick in the digital book. For those not in the know, it's when a malicious actor sets up a fake website to get you to log in to steal your credentials. The repercussions from this can be really severe, from grabbing your personally identifiable information on a particular individual who owns the account, which can lead to extortion, or just plain old robbing your wallet that's on the market. Here's where Archetype got a neat trick up its sleeve in comparison to some of the other markets. The anti-phishing jail, it's a verification point. Pause in the process, ensuring you're not about to hand over your Monero to some lookalike site run by a scammer with a sticky fingers. Nobody likes to get robbed, and phishing is a super easy way to go about it. My favorite counter to this, though, is to only trust myself. Once I get a URL I know is correct, I bookmark it instead of looking it up every time. And basically, this means that I'm much less likely to get phished or robbed. And on Archetype, when you log in, you get a unique personal marker in the anti-phishing jail, and it's like a secret handshake. And if you see it, you're basically walking into the right place and that no one's going, you're not getting ripped off by a phisher. So this feature is a fortress wall against phishing hordes, designed to keep you safe within the legitimate confines of Archetype. But it's more than just anti-phishing theatrics. Archetype's commitment to operational security, for one, and user privacy is their cornerstone of their philosophy, which is refreshing to see in a darknet market. This leads to us going to our next section, where we start to get into the nitty-gritty of the entire point of this video, which is actually walking into this digital market. Registration and entry. Open registration is another piece of the puzzle. Archetype isn't about exclusivity, it's about accessibility. So it's not like one of those markets that you need a referral or something for. Anyone with a Tor browser and a keen sense of privacy and anonymity can knock on the digital door and create an account for free. But just remember, with great access comes great responsibility. Meaning, don't buy any drugs, don't sell any drugs, don't do anything illegal whatsoever. Just check it out. Dashboard navigation. When you slip past the initial gates and completed the entry ritual or the sign up and anti-phishing check, you're greeted with the command center of your archetype experience, the dashboard. The marketplace, the heart of archetype. Here, the digital shelves are stocked not with everyday items, but with goods that tend to not be so legal. The marketplace is more than just a list, though. It's a labyrinth of choices where vendors set up virtual stalls, each brimming with listings from the innocuous to the potent. Next, we've got games. And seeing games listed when I first went on was a real trip. You're going to find something other than Call of Duty or Bejeweled here. We're talking about high-stakes games. It's a break from the serious business of the market, yet it's intertwined with the ecosystem, offering a side hustle or a gamble. Choose your poison. And I'll cover the specific games more in depth in the entertainment and engagement section. But for now, it's just interesting to know they even have a game section. Next up, we have the wallet section. And this is where your Monero will be. It's your financial nerve center on Archetype, where you can check your balance, top it up, plan your next move, or pull your funds out from the market. It's all about the XMR here. Favorites are your personal bookmarks, a collection of go-to places within the market. You may have a preferred vendor or a listing that's caught your eye. You pin it here so that you never have to dive into the deep end and try to find it again. Vendor stores are like a walk-through bazaar, with each vendor proudly displaying their reputation. It's a trader's profile, their digital storefront, if you will. You've got ratings, listing counts, dispute stats. Basically, it's all transparent, and that little indicator showing if they've been active in the last 24 hours. That's kind of like knowing if the shop's open, and nobody likes closed signs. The referral section. That's where Archetype incentivizes word of mouth, bringing in fellow travelers. In this way, they expand the network one user at a time. ArchyWiki is the library, the grand archive where knowledge is free and shared. Do you have a question? ArchyWiki has answers. Probably anyways. It's a repository of guides, a compendium of the collective wisdom of Archetype's community. The help desk is your SOS signal. So suppose you can't find an answer to your question in the ArchyWiki. In this case, this is probably your next stop if you also have checked the forum for the same. If you're lost, this is the compass. Lastly is the settings section. This is where you'll tailor Archetype to your custom fit. You can customize, configure all the different options that they have in here. This is where the market lets you tweak your experience to your own comfort. Thanks to the private mirror, I created this video even during a hardcore DDoS attack on the market. So that's your dashboard. It's a neat, organized interface brimming with features, each with its own role, so to speak, in your Archetype journey. Next up, we'll get into market functionality. We'll cover all the little topics that surround the search category and the options that exist inside of it. Marketplace functionality. Navigating the marketplace of Archetype is like steering through a digital atlas that's been meticulously organized to cater to the needs and the whims of its users. The search and filter options are your compass, leading you to the products you seek precisely and efficiently. First, the vendor filter. It's more like a drop down. It's a gateway to trusted sources. I'm kidding, of course. Always check reviews of your vendors on multiple sites before going with anyone. The category filter segments the marketplace offerings into digestible pieces. If you're into smoking bud, for example, you probably don't want to have to sift through a bunch of listings for recreational chemicals or heroin. Whether browsing or going directly for an item, categories are your specific shortcuts through the digital aisles. The source and the destination, these two filters are geographic coordinates of commerce, where goods forge their path from and where they're bound to. Source and destination are basically how you can decide geographically where you're going to buy from. If you're in the US and you want to buy from a US vendor to avoid customs, you can do that with source. With destination, tells you where it's going to. Basically, they acknowledge the global dance of supply and demand, embracing both the worldwide reach and the local touch. Who cares? Someone who knows the best hash comes from Spain may want to search that country for that product specifically to find the highest rated vendor in that country that makes the best of that particular substance. The minimum amount and the unit filter caters the bulk buyer and the sample tester. The price range in a market is the price that you want to set for whatever you're looking to spend for a given product. This filter lets users navigate their financial comfort zone within their budget or the stretch of their splurge. Lastly, the search term box is where queries are keyed in and the desires are distilled into keywords. It's the whisper into the market's ear expressing what you want. Popularity, rating, and quantity aren't just filters, but badges of honor, so to speak, or tokens of trust and measures of demand. Of course, the downfall is that any vendor can exit scam or start selective scamming, so nothing much like the rest of the world is promised. Popularity is the market's pulse, rating the trust earned in past transactions, and quantity is the promise of availability. And there, in the product listings, is where the market offerings exist. Payment and transactions. In the digital bazaar that is Archetype, transactions flow like the currents of the underground river. Concealed yet powerful, central to this economic ecosystem are its payment and transaction systems, designed with privacy and security as paramount. Here, we dive into the intricacies of these systems, exploring the dual pathways of the classic wallet and the direct pay system, the choice of Monero, XMR, as the currency of anonymity, and the safeguards of escrow and FE, or finalize early listings. Classic wallet versus direct pay system. The classic wallet system operates as your traditional darknet market wallet. Users deposit funds into their market wallet, holding the balance until purchase. This method offers a buffer between your personal funds and the marketplace, adding a layer of separation that many users find comforting. However, it requires trust in the market security measures to safeguard these held funds against things like potential breaches. On the flip side, the direct pay system streamlines the process, allowing for users to send funds directly to a vendor at the time of the purchase. This method reduces the time your digital currency sits within the market, theoretically lowering the risk of loss due to hacks or market seizure or exit scams. However, it demands precise, coordinated trust in the vendor's promptness and reliability. Both options have their upsides and their risks. Escrow and FE, or finalizing early listing mechanisms. The escrow system serves as a metaphor, a guardian of transactions. It's my favorite way to pay as a buyer because if a vendor does not send what I bought, I can get a refund. When a purchase is made, the funds are held in escrow by the market until the buyer, which in this case would be me, confirms receipt and satisfaction of the product. Only then are the funds actually released to the vendor. This system provides a safety net for the buyer, ensuring that the vendor must fulfill their bargain to receive payment. For a while, in one particular market, I handled disputes. It was probably one of my favorite jobs that I did. It's not always black and white. Sometimes refunds happen in percentages. The point is that with this system, you have some form of safeguard which exists via third party. So moving on to the next system, FE, or finalize early listings, deviate from this path, allowing vendors to receive payments before the buyer has actually confirmed receipt. This is typically reserved for the most trusted vendors due to the inherent risk to buyers. FE listings offer a quicker turnover for vendors, but demand a higher degree of trust from the buyer. It's a high-stakes game suitable only for those transactions where both parties are confident in the other's reliability. It's not as rare, though, as you might think. Security and privacy. In Archetype, the pillars of security and privacy are not just upheld, they're reserved. This dedication to safeguarding sensitive information is manifested through several mechanisms, most notably the use of Pretty Good Privacy, also known as PGP, the automatic encryption of shipping details, and the exclusive employment of Monero or XMR as the choice currency. For one, Pretty Good Privacy, PGP for sensitive details. PGP stands as a vanguard of communication security within Archetype and the darknet in general. It's not just an option, but a necessity for those who value the market's depth and OPSEC in general. The importance of PGP can't be overstated. It is the cloak under which all sensitive information hides. This cryptographic veil ensures messages, addresses, and transactions remain only in the intended recipient's eyes. Archetype recognizes the complexity that PGP might present to newcomers and has thus integrated comprehensive tutorials within its ecosystem, notably in the forum and ArchieWiki. These resources serve as guides and gateways to empowerment, enabling users to wield PGP confidently. The tutorials demystify the process, illustrating step-by-step how to generate keys, encrypt messages, and ensure that every piece of sensitive information is cloaked in cryptographic security. No matter what, please always remember that using PGP is essential. Never trust any market to encrypt a message for you. Your shipping details or other sensitive information should always be encrypted using PGP by you, specifically. Automatic encryption of shipping details as a failsafe. In an environment where operational security is paramount, Archetype introduces an innovative failsafe mechanism, the automatic encryption of shipping details. This feature is designed as a safety net, ensuring that even during oversight, a user's shipping information is not exposed. It acts as a silent guardian, stepping in to encrypt details using the vendor's public PGP key, should a user forget to do so themselves. However, this is not to encourage complacency, but to serve as a final line of defense, reinforcing the market's commitment to user privacy. Again, I'll say it a second time because that's how important it is. Never rely on a market to do your encryption for you. When communicating with vendors, the darknet market Hansa implemented a automatic encryption feature for users' personal details like home addresses. On the surface, this seems efficient and secure. Encryption happens pretty seamlessly in the background, right? This convenience came at a high cost. When law enforcement took over Hansa, they only had to tweak the system very slightly. Before the encryption, they inserted a step to copy the unencrypted addresses. This minor adjustment meant that every buyer who relied on the market's automatic encryption unwittingly handed the most sensitive information directly to international law enforcement.
That's when I decided to hack you.
This situation underscores a critical lesson in operational security. If users had taken the initiative to encrypt their details manually, their information would have remained secure even in the hands of law enforcement running the entire website. It's a stark reminder that convenience should never trump security. In the United States, the fallout might not have been as severe. We didn't hear about a ton of buyer busts, but still, the repercussions were significant for users in other countries, especially where customs are stringent. The incident highlights the importance of encrypting personal information, making it a non-negotiable part of your operational security routine. It's not just about protecting data. It's about maintaining control over your information in the face of any adversary.
Never give up control. Live life on your own terms.
And that's the difference between InfoSec and operational security. Community engagement and resources. Within Archetype, the pulse of its community beats strongest in the forums. Of course, overall engagement there will never top the amount of activity on the actual market, as that's the main draw for Archetype in the first place. The exchange of information and mutual aid construct the backbone of this clandestine marketplace. One thing I always found interesting about these communal resources was the bonds that can take place between completely anonymous individuals. It's entirely within the realm of possibility to get to know someone without knowing them, without knowing any personal information about the individual you've been talking to for the last month, whom you might know for a prolonged period of time. You can get to know them very well on these darknet market forums. The forum. The forum is like the town square of Archetype. Here you can be part of a community giving and receiving information, updates, and tactics. In time, you find personas emerging through the text, sharing insights, warnings, and camaraderie. I personally love darknet market forums. They're definitely a magical place. It's where I personally started my darknet journey. The first website that I was on, I ended up posting like 5,000 posts in about a month and a half, which was how I established my name on the darknet as a helpful person. That was how I ended up posting. It's a space where the written word bridges the gap between solitude and society.
Society.
Elliot, you're not saying anything. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Whether it's a veteran vendor offering sage advice to a novice or users debating the best practices for maintaining good OPSEC, the forum vibrates with a dynamic exchange of ideas and experiences. Did I already say that it was a magical place? The only downfall to forums on the darknet market is that typically when the darknet market retires or exits scams or gets busted, the forum goes with it too. Some of the valuable things you will find on these forums are things like market announcements where you'll find like updates on various good and bad that are actually taking place in the market, typically made by staff. The FAQ, or the frequently asked questions section, the feature request section, which will allow vendors and users alike to request directly to the market about things that they would like to see implemented there. There are a ton of other sections that we could absolutely cover. Still, the point of this video isn't to enumerate every possible section inside the forum, but rather to take a look at some of the features of the darknet market that we're discussing. There is one last thing regarding the forum specifically that I would like to cover, specifically Archetype's forum, and that's their multilingual support. Recognizing the global tapestry of the user base, Archetype embraces diversity through multilingual threads, breaking language barriers to unify users under the banner of shared interests and concerns. This is one of the coolest features I think that I've seen, and it's incredibly considerate when we reflect upon the fact that the darknet community as a whole, by and large, is an international community that doesn't just span states or countries, but entire continents. ArchiWiki, the encyclopedia of the underworld, a living document chronicling the evolving landscape of the darknet market scene. More than just a manual or two, it's a compass for navigating the complexities of the darknet, offering structured knowledge at the fingertips of those who seek it. Inside of it, we'll find comprehensive guides from the basic tenets of cryptography to advanced operational security techniques. ArchiWiki covers a broad spectrum of topics, each designed to educate and empower its readers. It has user-generated content. The content of ArchiWiki is a testament to the community's willingness to share knowledge. Each entry, edited and updated by users, reflects a commitment to the collective well-being of the Archetype populace. Accessibility is another factor in the ArchiWiki's structured layout, which ensures that information is available and accessible, making it a valuable resource for both the novice user and the seasoned darknet veteran. The role of community in support and knowledge sharing. At the heart of Archetype's resilience is the community. In the face of constant threats from law enforcement and scammers, users' shared knowledge and mutual support serve as the market's bulwark. The communal wisdom distributed across the forums and ArchiWiki acts as a beacon guiding users through the stormy seas of the darknet. Peer support. Without traditional customer service, the community fills the void, offering real-time assistance to fellow users facing challenges or seeking guidance. Knowledge distribution. The democratization of knowledge through communal platforms ensures that information on safe practices and market navigations is not hoarded but shared, elevating the collective operational security of the user base. Cultural exchange. Beyond exchanging goods and services, Archetype community platforms facilitate cultural exchange where ideas, philosophies, ethics are all debated and disseminated, fostering a rich undercurrent of darknet culture. The forums and ArchiWiki are not mere features of Archetype, they are the market's lifeblood, pumping vital information and camaraderie through the veins. They stand as a testament of sorts to the power of community, proving that even in the shadowed corners of the internet, unity and shared purpose can thrive amongst anonymity. Vendor interaction and analysis. The vendor stores section of Archetype is a microcosm of the market's ecosystem, where each vendor's digital storefront becomes a focal point for users' interaction and transactional activities. This section is designed not as a marketplace, but as a communal hub of sorts, where trust, reputation, and transparency are the currency of operation. Vendor ratings and listings. The vendor stores section of Archetype is a microcosm of the market's ecosystem where each vendor's digital storefront becomes a focal point for users' interaction and transactional activities. This section is designed not just as a marketplace, but as a community hub where trust, reputation, and transparency are the currencies of operation. The ratings are at the heart of each vendor profile, the cumulative reflection of their reliability and product quality, customer service. These ratings are derived from user feedback, ensuring newcomers can gauge vendors' standing adequately before doing business with them. The number of listings under each vendor acts as a catalog of their offerings, showcasing the diversity and availability of products. It directly indicates the vendor's activity and stock variety, allowing users to explore multiple options under a single roof. Sales and open disputes. Sales figure testifies to the vendor's success and activity level within the market. High sale numbers can indicate a vendor's popularity and the consistent quality of their product. On the other hand, open disputes offer a glimpse into the challenges buyers might have in the future. A lower number of disputes suggests a smoother transactional experience, highlighting the vendor's commitment to resolving any potential issues. These things are not exclusive and are definitely not without caveats. Last active status. The last active status adds a layer of dynamicism to the vendor's profile, indicating how responsive and active that vendor is. This feature reassures users that they are engaging with someone currently active and likely to respond promptly to inquiries. As a darknet buyer, one of my tricks I used to measure how active a vendor was to ask them a simple question before buying from them. In turn, I would measure how long it took them to respond to my question. Odds are that in the future, if you have another question, they're probably going to respond in about the same time frame. Placing orders and extending auto-finalized times. Once a user selects a product, they're guided through a series of steps to confirm the order, including the selection of shipping options, payment methods, and what have you. Extending auto-finalization times is a feature designed to protect both buyers and vendors. It allows buyers additional time to receive and inspect their product before the transaction is automatically finalized. This mechanism ensures that both parties have ample time to address concerns, reinforcing the market's emphasis on fair and secure transactions. As a side note, the courtesy as a buyer is to promptly inspect your package when you get it and ensure you got what you ordered. After that, hop on the market and quickly finalize your order if you are happy with it. Something super annoying for vendors is when buyers never finalize their orders. At the end of the day, the vendor send it to you, typically in the most timely manner that they possibly can. And simply letting the order auto-finalize, in my opinion, is not a good methodology for doing business properly. Comprehensive vendor profiles and feedback systems. Vendor profiles on Archetype are comprehensive, including quantitative metrics like ratings, sales, and quantitative feedback from users. The feedback system is integral to maintaining transparency within any market, offering prospective buyers insights into other experiences with a vendor. The feedback system operates on a mutual respect and honesty, encouraging detailed reviews covering product quality, shipping efficiency, and overall satisfaction. Things like stealth come into play here. The open line of communication fosters a sense of community and trust, making the marketplace not just a platform for transactions, but a space for shared experiences and knowledge. Support and rules. The support and rules framework isn't just a set of guidelines or a help desk, it's the benchmark of the market's integrity and community. Here, we'll dissect it and in turn reveal how it upholds the market's commitment to operational security, user privacy, and ethical conduct. Support system. The support system on Archetype isn't merely a feature, it's a lifeline. Whether you're a seasoned vendor or a newcomer trying to navigate the murky waters of the darknet, the support team stands ready. Users can submit support tickets for a myriad of issues, account problems, transactional disputes, or general inquiries. The comprehensive facts section, for example, acts as a first point of reference, offering answers to common questions and guiding users through common issues. In creating this video, I wrote an encrypted message to the site administrator, letting him or her know that I was creating this video to begin with. Within 24 hours, I got a message back from staff. What's my point? Responsiveness. In other darknet markets I've been on, you could message the support staff and never hear anything back. Dream comes to mind, which is a market that was around forever ago, but you would never get a response back. Nothing is worse than running into an issue that you can't solve, and actually I take that back. It sucks running into an issue that you can't solve and not having backup for that issue. It was good to see the support staff in this market offer support. Market rules. Archetype's market rules go beyond mere transactional guidelines. They declare the market values and principles. The do's and don'ts serve as a moral compass, guiding user behavior towards a culture of respect, fairness, and honesty. Some of the do's that you'll see when registering are be friendly, be helpful, be honest. These aren't just like the words, but they're like the pillars. The darknet subculture thrives off these exact same principles. They encourage a positive interaction environment, fostering a marketplace where users feel supported and valued.
Got a lot more rules than anywhere else in Oz.
At the heart of Archetype's operational philosophy, it's a community behavior of ethics. This isn't about imposing rules from the top down. Archetype aims to elevate the standard of conduct within the darknet landscape. This emphasis on community behavior and ethics does more than regulate transactions. These principles act as a beacon, guiding users toward a path of integrity and respect, entertainment and engagement. In the labyrinth of Archetype's digital marketplace, where transactions and interactions weave the fabric of a clandestine community, there lies an oddity, the game section. Coming up, we'll look at a couple of the specific games that are on Archetype right now. The first is Bets. The Bets platform within Archetype offers users a chance to wager on current events, turning the tide of global happenings into communal pool of anticipation and speculation. It's not just gambling, it's a shared experience, a collective holding of breaths as the world unfolds. This feature taps into the human factor for risk and reward, leveraging global affairs pulse to foster camaraderie and collective engagement. Deadpool. This is probably one of my favorite ones. Deadpool takes a darker, more speculative turn, inviting users to place bets on the longevity and fate of other darknet markets. It's a dreadful reflection of the volatile nature of the darknet itself, where markets rise and fall within the unpredictability of digital shadows. This game is a stark reminder of the transient existence of digital entities in a space where permanence is a myth, yet it also bonds the community, creating a shared narrative of survival and endurance amidst the digital chaos. Archie Dice. Archie Dice, now temporarily closed due to rule violations offered a straightforward gamble, roll the dice for a chance to win Monero. Its closure basically highlighted a critical aspect of community engagement, the importance of rules and consequences of their breach. Archie Dice was not just a game of chance, but a lesson in governance and order within the lawless expanse of the darknet. Operational reliability. Operational reliability in the shadowy corridors of the darknet is a cornerstone on which the credibility and longevity of a marketplace are built. Archetype, in this regard, exemplifies a model of resilience and communicative clarity, particularly noticeable in handling of inevitable downtime and the myriad of issues that can arise in such a complex environment. Downtime management and communication. Archetype's approach to downtime, a dreaded but sometimes unavoidable occurrence for any online platform, is marked by proactive communication and transparency from everything that I've seen, especially on Dread. A specific instance that illustrates this commitment was a brief session of downtime experienced by the market. Unlike the opaque silence that might shroud other markets in such events, Archetype staff took to various platforms to inform their user base, providing regular updates and expectations for resolution. In addition, the downtime was pretty minimal, lasting for an hour or two from what I remember. The openness in communication serves multiple purposes. First, it mitigates the natural anxiety and speculation that can flourish among users when a market suddenly becomes inaccessible. This is a phenomenon that occurs in every single market. Anytime any market goes down, even if it's for 5 minutes or 5 seconds, people tend to freak out and start yelling about exit scams, and you really can't blame them, as many people have lost a ton of money to exit scams. It's almost a knee-jerk reaction for people to start flipping out when a market goes down. And by acknowledging the issue directly, Archetype team has reassured users that downtime is recognized and being addressed, rather than just leaving them in the dark, wondering if a more sinister fate has befallen the market. Second, it fosters a sense of community and trust between the market's operators and its users. And trust is a precious commodity in the darknet, and it's very rare. And transparency is a currency that buys loyalty, essentially. Stability and responsiveness. The overall stability of Archetype is not just a function of its technological infrastructure, but also of its administrative responsiveness in issues as they arise. The market infrastructure is robust, designed to withstand the fluctuating dynamics of the darknet, from cyber threats to law enforcement scrutiny. However, no system is infallible. Archetype's accurate measure of stability comes from how swiftly and effectively it responds to challenges. Like any business, I've always been a fan of saying that adaptability is the measure of survivability. It is as accurate for a business as it is for an individual. Conclusion and personal impressions. Archetype Market, by design, showcases a intricate blend of detailed orientation, robust security features, and a user-centric approach. Its dedication to maintaining OPSEC and privacy through the exclusive use of Monero for transactions, alongside implementing an anti-phishing system and PGP for sensitive communications, underlines a deep commitment to user safety and data protection. The market structure, emphasizing user education and community engagement through resources like the forum and ArchiWiki, demonstrate a thoughtful approach to navigating the complexities of securing online trading environments. The complexity. and thoughtfulness of the market design are notable. Archetype has managed to create navigatable yet secure platform that caters to the unique needs of its user base, including features such as direct pay system alongside the traditional wallet and detailed vendor profiles and feedback systems speaks volumes about the market's efforts to balance security, convenience, and transparency. Final recommendations. While Archetype has laid down a solid foundation in terms of operational security from an outsider's point of view and user engagement, there's always room for growth and improvement. Enhancing user education on the importance of OPSEC beyond the platform through more interactive tutorials could definitely further solidify the community's understanding and practice of online behaviors and safety. Additionally, exploring features that increase market transparency without compromising security could also greatly benefit vendors and buyers. Perhaps, though, more detailed analytics on market trends and vendor performance could also be shown. Archetype has established itself as a notable player in the darknet sphere, particularly regarding OPSEC and user engagement, too. Yet, there's a perpetual horizon of enhancement that beckons. Every platform, no matter how secure it appears from the outside, has the potential to reach greater heights in safeguarding its users and enriching their experience. So let's check out a few areas where Archetype could chart a course for even more robust security and transparency. My disclosure here is this is my version of a perfect market and what it would have. That's what these suggestions are. No doubt that some of these suggestions are impossible or super difficult to pull off. I never created a market before, so I'm just some ignorant YouTuber saying that what I think other people should do with their market. First one would be a bug bounty program. It might exist, I didn't see it. A concept that has proven worth to the broader tech community could be a game changer for Archetype. By incentivizing white hat hackers to uncover vulnerabilities, Archetype can stay ahead of threats, and this proactive defense can differentiate between a secure market and a compromised one. It's about turning potential adversaries into allies, creating a safer platform where security is crowdsourced and ever evolving. The program should be headline first and proudly show detailed categorization of exact figures that the bug hunters can expect and stick to it when or if they're found and reported. Number 2 would be on the support front. Real-time assistance could be revolutionary. While forums and ticket systems serve their purpose, the immediacy of a live chat support system could provide users with swift resolutions to issues. It's about minimizing downtime, maximizing satisfaction, and creating a support structure as agile and responsive as the market it protects. 3, community input is a valuable asset that could be leveraged more effectively. Archetype users are its lifeblood. Their insights could drive the platform's evolution. By implementing a feature that allows users to vote on new features or marketplace changes, Archetype could democratize its development process, aligning its growth with the desires and needs of the community. 4, transparency is the linchpin of trust in any marketplace. Archetype could explore mechanisms to enhance transparency that doesn't jeopardize user security. This could take the form of anonymized market analytics, offering users insight into trends without compromising the anonymity of buyers or sellers. Transparent vendor performance metrics could also help bolster this, giving users confidence in their transactions by highlighting reputable vendors based on various performance indicators. 5, vendor verification is a critical component that can fortify trust within a marketplace. Archetype could introduce a more rigorous verification process for vendors, including multifaceted checks against established criteria. This process minimizes the risk of fraudulent activities and fake vendors. Knowing that vendors have undergone stringent vesting instills a greater sense of security among buyers. Number 6, like I said before, transparency in dispute resolution can significantly impact user trust. By detailing the steps and outcomes of disputes through anonymized case studies or aggregated data reports, Archetype can foster an environment of fairness and openness. Users can learn from previous incidents, which can also serve as educational material for best practices in conflict resolution, specifically on the darknet. 7, vendor performance metrics. Complete with delivery times, response rates, and now including a cancellation rate, offer a comprehensive view of a vendor's reliability and service quality. Some of these must be generalized for OPSEC purposes, but a scale to finalization ratio is possible. These metrics allow users to make informed decisions, reducing the likelihood of a transaction falling through and the associated inconveniences that come with it. Number 8, customization is critical to personalization. And by allowing users to tailor their dashboard and interface, Archetype can enhance user satisfaction. A customizable interface can also assist users in navigating the marketplace more effectively, prioritizing the information that matters most to them. Regularly scheduled security audits conducted by external actors would serve as a check against internal vulnerabilities and a signal to users that Archetype is committed continually to maintaining the highest security standards. Publishing the results of these audits could boast transparency and trust in the platform. Implementing a reputation system for buyers. I've never bought anything from Archetype, so this may already exist, and I just don't know, but implementing a reputation system for buyers would recognize and reward positive buying behavior and encourage a more trustworthy marketplace environment. This system could reflect a buyer's history of timely payments and dispute resolutions, incentivizing adherence to best practices among the user base. The ability to have this only visible by vendors who are verified would be one key option. Another would be the user's ability to disable this feature should they want to. Implementing data purging protocols ensures that user data is not held indefinitely, minimizing exposure to potential data breaches. Regularly scheduled purging of old listings, messages, and other non-essential data would demonstrate Archetype's commitment to privacy and data protection. Vendor risk ratings could provide a snapshot of a vendor's reliability based on their historical performance, including dispute resolutions, delivery reliability, and customer feedback. This feature would empower buyers to make more informed choices about with who they decide to transact with. As we wrap up this examination of Archetype, it's clear that while the marketplace stands as a significant entity within the darknet landscape marked by its dedication to OPSEC and a strong community, the path to refinement is ongoing. The potential improvements outlined serve as a roadmap for a marketplace that doesn't just rest and let time pass, but constantly strives for the better. And now the floor is open to you. Engage with those ideas I know you guys have, debate them, and expand upon them. Whether you're a cybersecurity enthusiast, privacy advocate, or simply fascinated by the complexities of the darknet, your voice matters, and I do read all the comments. Share your thoughts, suggest further enhancements, and contribute to the ongoing conversation about the future of online privacy, anonymity, and security. What do you think about Archetype? Can you think of anything that should be implemented in order to improve the market? If you're still watching this, first off, thank you, and I look forward to reading what you have to say. And as always, I will see you in the next video.